Where do we start?
Leinster 76, Zebra 5.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the
Leinster are
saddle.
back.
Back in the saddle.
Huh?
Yeah. Look at this.
You don't want to read out that comment you told us earlier, no?
What was it?
I was enjoying the highlights of Leinster Zebra and all the tries. Charlie Barr played very well. And one comment underneath was, Leinster are the greatest rugby team of all time when it doesn't matter.
No. What do you make of that?
I'm delighted for you, Colm. This long extended period of
I enjoyed the rugby.
you do in your hole.
Were you at it?
No, there was too much on. There was too much on, sure.
Did you watch it?
I mean, I put in the group after 25 minutes, this is going to finish 80, and I was very close. They were a point a minute. What?
I think at the same time Kildare
This
were
lap of honour, this is a very long extended lap of honour, you know?
No, just
This hubris.
You were saying, and it's very difficult. That weekend of sport is almost nigh impossible to get to everything. So I'm just trying to get to things that we missed out there.
Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick and finished on a losing side.
He did, yeah.
They were 2-0 up.
How many tries did Jordy
And
Barr
they
get?
lost.
Was it 2?
Will I do the headlines for you? Okay. Redemption is it doesn't really work, does it? Redemption.
Yeah.
Like a small redemption.
I don't feel that was an event that needs to be trivialised. Do you know that kind of way? I don't think it needs it. It's big enough.
You can hold your headlines.
Yeah.
Quiet days.
Trent suffers effective booze. He wasn't very good in the 20 minutes that he came on. Arne Slot was interesting in the press conference afterward. He was asked about it, and his first thing he said was, "We're very privileged to live in Europe to be able to express our views." It's an interesting. You have freedom of speech. Why not us? Belief at the heart of Louth March to Leinster Summit is the headline on the Irish Times. Also, Adeleke and Maudsley to 4 as Ireland qualify in the double. So we're going to have 2 relay teams automatically qualified for the World Championships. Louth can build on this and win more titles, says Ger Brennan, looking forward already. Amarim, I'll get sacked next season if United don't improve. Well, that's true.
No shit, Sherlock.
There's some of the papers are like, well, they've got a decision to make. Do they back this guy with all their transfer money in the summer, given that there's no real sign of him being any good at the job just yet?
I watched that press conference in full, and it was uploaded on YouTube, but they left the aftermath in. So when Amarim walked away, you could hear the journalists talk amongst themselves on YouTube. It was actually mad.
Oh, yeah.
They all stand up and they're chatting away, milling about, and they're clearly on mic.
Saying what?
And they're like, did he just say he loses his job if he continues next year? Did he say that? And they're all like confirming with each other.
That accent.
And then that's what they published this morning. So we saw the inner workings of it, and now you've read it out. Good process, boys.
Is it a good process? Or they all just agree the line? Anyway, okay. Wee bit of history. Louth banished 68 years of hurt. Sam Mulroy pictured in the front of the Examiner in front of jubilant scenes at the trophy lift. Yes, we can. Ger's glory at Croker as he eyes up quick return to HQ. So the Louth group, we were talking about this before we came on. The Louth group is not bad in the All-Ireland series.
Yeah, I met them as a group of lads.
Claire Monaghan down.
Claire
Monaghan down. They're in Group 3, the All-Ireland series. But Meath, it's not too bad for Meath either. I mean, like the consolation prize of losing the Leinster final is a group with Kerry, Roscommon and Cork. And of course 3 get out. So every possibility there for Meath.
Yeah. I would fancy Cork against Meath, and they beat Roscommon in the league, obviously. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I'll have to go. Embarrassed Amarim admits it's all his fault. It's not quite what he said, is it? It's not quite what he said.
Oh, you
He said, I'm responsible for this, as in today, but actually, I mean, clearly everybody knows that this has been a joke shop for such a long period of time. It is all resting now in the Champions League next season. The money that they'll get from that will allow them to sign some players. That game against Spurs is like one of the biggest games in Manchester United's recent history.
For sure. I think it's more the prestige. I know there'd be money wise as well, but I think it's just an easier way to lure people in.
He's down about it, lads. He did say in that press conference, I don't know if the Champions League will be a good thing for this group.
Jesus Christ.
Drought of this world. Famine over for Wee County as Brennan's boys reign at Croker. Is the headline in the Mirror. I'll keep picking Trent. Slot vow after Stars jeered by Anfield crowd. If there was an extra couple of million that they could squeeze out of Real Madrid, would you take it now at this point? Like, why not?
Well, I don't know if he'll play again after what happened yesterday.
He just said he's going to continue to pick him.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. He got booed heavily against Manchester United in January when the news of his possible departure was there, and he admitted that it affected him afterwards. So I'd be absolutely crestfallen with that when he came on. You could see it in his face, actually. And then Arsenal actually scored right afterwards.
Loud and proud. Brennan says Leinster win is only the start. They're pretty happy, and they deserve to be, because they've clearly been the best team in Leinster over the last 3 years. And there are situations where you don't get what you deserve in life, but Louth did deserve to be the ones who ended up finally not being the Dublin team that won Leinster. GPA insists GA integration is non-negotiable. This is going to be interesting to see if the Scorts thing manages to segue into actually the re-emergence of integration as a storyline, because it completely disappeared.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're going to integrate. Yeah, no, we've got our best people working on it. Don't worry, it's absolutely fine. And then all these stories come out about why it's impossible and why it can never happen. But no one's ever actually speaking about it openly. Oh, whoa, we've no money. We need more pitches. I don't think it's this true. And then it just disappears as a story, and it gets mothballed. And it's like, oh, we'll put a committee. The best thing that if you want to kill something, you put a committee on it, and then the committee files a report, and the report goes up and you have a launch, or you have no launch.
They could create a few quangos. The timeline of this is fairly discouraging, because I think it was February 2024 it looked like integration was going to happen. And then, Ger, didn't we do a piece with John Fogarty about 9 or 10 months ago now at this stage about it? And there was a mad negative reaction to that piece itself, the idea of integration. And from that point on, it's just the word that you use, and there's no discussion about it.
Yeah. So the GPA are trying to kick it back, drag it, kick it and screaming back onto the agenda. It's difficult in the midst of all the good games. Amram, I'll quit if we don't fix this. Also not really what he said. They'll have to sack me.
That's why they were conferring afterwards, the journalists.
Okay.
I think you got that.
Marinakis fumes after Forest slip-up. I don't know if you saw this, but the Nottingham Forest owner was on the pitch yesterday. Forest kind of blew a big opportunity, really. They've got Chelsea in the last game, which means that if they were ahead of them, all they would have to do was draw that last game, really. I mean, maybe Villa would have caught them, but probably not. And he was on the pitch demonstrating with Nuno. And then Nuno's asked afterwards about it in a way that is really like, I'm trying to trap you here into saying something that's going to get you fired before the last 2 games of the season. It's like, oh, what do you think of that? What do you think of the owner? What do you think of him making your job more difficult? What? Come on, Nuno, tell us. And Nuno's like, oh, really? I mean, how does it make my job more difficult? I deal with this every day. Imagine, this is what he's doing on the pitch after a match. Imagine what he's like behind closed doors. He didn't say that. He didn't. He was like, I'm going to keep speaking here and this is all going to be over. Focus on a point in the wall.
Gary Neville went nuclear on it. She said Nuno should walk because of that. But I think it was before the context was included, which is Tayo Owani was injured, and then the medical staff gave the okay for him to continue. Then they made the sub of Jota Silva coming on, and then when they got around to the side of the pitch, medical staff were like, actually, no, he can't play. So they had to put him back on, basically couldn't move, and they were searching for a winner.
Yeah.
So that's what it was about. But it looked like he was blaming Nuno for what happened.
Also, you know.
But you could have done still. That could just be the story that they're releasing.
Yeah. It could be. Who knows?
There's so much other stuff happened Friday night ago, like, seems like a lifetime, a different phase of our lives. So Tim Clancy walked away from Cork City minutes after they lost 2-1 at home to Derry City for a relatively late winner. So Clancy's gone, and of course Colin Healy just took the Kerry job, so it'll be very interesting. Could they tempt John Caulfield back? Galway have lost a couple of games. Last week, Galway were right up there, and now they're right at the end. 2 defeats. That's how close the League of Ireland is so far this year.
Bowes with another late winner.
The Moose scored.
Yeah.
This Moose came on.
So it's going to be. It is already a brilliant season.
Mason Milley would have fine finished for Pats, but Shells came back and won that game too. So yeah, exactly. It is a fine season. 15 rounds game played. But Cork City need a new manager. And like you said, the Classic goes home with Barcelona 4-3, despite Kylian Mbappe's hat-trick, despite Madrid going 2-0 up. And Madrid have no defence. Calamitous goals. You should watch it. Watch them back. So now Barca are 7 points clear with, I think, 3 games to go, so it's basically done. Serie A, Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmore's Napoli, they drew 2-2 at Genoa last night after Inter won 2-0.
So what's happening?
So they're a point clear, Napoli at the top of Inter with 2 games to go. They both have the same number of games played. So it's in Napoli's hands, but it's squeaky.
It's a good title race. I mean, you would assume that Inter will have the other fish to fry, but maybe.
Inter have a hell of a squad. They were playing lads there at the weekend that haven't seen Champions League football, and they got the job done. They won 2-0. Harry Kane lifted his first trophy over the weekend.
Fair play.
With Eric Dyer and Michael Olise.
Connemara's Harry Kane.
Randy Orton beat John Cena at Backlash. That's a big one. Sorry, that's the opposite. John Cena beat Randy Orton at Backlash. I tried to catch you there. I tried to catch you to see if you watched it. It was Cena beat Orton. And so much else, including our friend Danny Dyer, who won a BAFTA for Mr. Big Stuff, which I have not seen. Gave a very funny speech.
One of my actual mates did win a BAFTA last night. Blue Lights won Best Drama.
Oh.
Declan Nolan. So congratulations to everybody involved in Blue Lights. Massive controversy because Wolf Hall didn't win. So, there you go.
Well, that's class. Fair play.
Off the Ball Breakfast is with UPMC Orthopedic Care. When things don't move, rotate, or bend like they used to, choose us to help you get back in action. Where are we going? You want to
Performance
get this?
seconds.
Yeah. All right. Boom.
The good,
Is it acceptable to say it was the performance so far of the World Cup? Maybe not.
the bad,
I'm scratching my head. That performances was just lacked that intensity.
and the amber. Off the balls, performance rankings.
Where to begin? So much to talk about. So much. You know, that wasn't a weekend of sport heading into it. I thought we're going to be inundated with topics on Monday morning, but here we are. And will we get to everything? Let's see. We'll start with the provincial football finals, and we might start with the most recent one. Work backwards. Yesterday at Croke Park, the Leinster football final, even though I see Michael Murphy there in jubilation at Donegal. But I actually wouldn't mind talking about Meath Louth first. Meath, this is an interesting statistic in the first half, right? Meath had 18 shots. Louth only had 6 scores and there was only a point in it. It was proper neck and neck the whole way through. But I'm not sure about that free at the end for Sam Mulroy. It seemed kind of soft enough. So this is the 65th minute of play. Meath were a point ahead after a brilliant goal by Matthew Costello, which was, I think, Meath's first score in about a quarter of an hour. Actually scored that much in the second half. I thought the free was soft. However, it was well taken by Sam Mulroy, who had a mad game where he got the penalty in the first half, wasn't particularly great in the first half, started the second half atrociously, had 4 wides in a row, Sam Mulroy, ended up with, I think, 1-7 in the day, won the game for them, wasn't the only one, but was a star of the show off both feet. But whatever happens with the rule changes, when they talk about this again, keep the hooter.
Oh, keep the hooter. I
It's
would.
amazing. It's unbelievable. The way that Louth retained possession before Craig Lennon put the last point of the match over the bar. We had a debate about that in the WhatsApp group. I thought it was beautiful football and a well taken point. Meath must have been shattered looking at that. Louth kept the ball for, I'd say, the bones of 2 minutes. And
So the only
Meath had
thing
to go
is,
up and
right,
run the pitch.
I-
Could have got a 2-pointer.
Exactly.
But
You leave
Louth knew what they had to do. Keep him at bay.
Yeah, keep him at bay. Just keep him at bay for another minute, and then when
He had recycled possession, Craig Lennon, and they lost possession, which they had done
and they
when
had-
Sam Mulroy lost possession in the middle of the pitch and
scored
Costello scores the goal.
But that was, as you say, a long
do
time
that.
ago.
Yeah. But it can be done. You can lose possession.
You can, of course,
So
you can
take
lose
your
possession.
point.
You can lose possession. I was worried about taking the points. It does leave open the possibility of somebody hitting a 2-pointer. Although maybe because the inaccuracy from the 2-pointers, from Meath's perspective, just was higher than it needed to be for if they were going to actually win that game. Like the one thing I would say about the hooter is, do we need a shot clock? Like there was definitely bits in the Ulster final, as dramatic and brilliant as it was, where the introduction of a shot clock would have been like. Look,
A shot clock for what purpose,
We're
though?
picking nits so that you can't have a 5-minute build-up and then take a shot. Like you're in the other half, get a shot off inside 90 seconds.
Or the game's over.
No, not at the end of the game. For the whole game.
No.
Yeah.
It's a bit frustrating, though.
Go on.
It's just like,
But that's the rules of the game, because it's hard to win the ball back in Gaelic football.
I know.
So
You know, that's the game.
So it's the game looks like it's on the verge of being absolutely sensational. The opening 10 minutes of both games was this.
Well, it was really interesting. Yesterday they started so nervously, both Louth and Meath, because there was a free by Meath, totally scuffed, very, very gettable point, completely scuffed it, like stayed in play. And then I think it was actually Mulroy himself went for a very ambitious 2-pointer. So I think the first score wasn't until about the 7th minute or 7 to 8 minutes. So it was a very nervous start.
It was end to end. It was like the opening of the Ulster Munster game, which was punch, 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 punch. The game is very good. No one's going to make any more changes now for a century. They've had enough of change. I can see the mood. The mood music has shifted. The tide has gone out on the. Let's get rid of the provincial championships.
Well, but, let's get rid of the provincial championships. You have put your head down, and most people, when you heard that sentence, most people would have thought of Leinster football. So, like, the Croke Park attendance yesterday was the biggest in 8 years, and I was looking at what that game was. Do you remember that, the 2017 Leinster final? Dublin, of course, but it was against Urlat. It was against Kildare, and Dublin won handily on paper. And this is a different sport almost, what happened yesterday. So it was fantastic. And look, who's to know if it was a Dublin-Louth final, if Louth got within 4 points last year, I think, wasn't it? So you could argue that Louth would have given Dublin a better game yesterday. But it was the right final for the neutrals, everyone but the Dubs. And what a match. Unbelievable. The Mulroy narrative alone fascinates me.
Gaelic football is back.
Craig Lennon's running from midfield too. Jesus, that goal. What a finish.
That was the goal of the day, wasn't it?
I think so. Now, I liked his running and assist for Louth's second goal in the first half was also brilliant. I thought the keeper could have said he got a hand to it. Kind of went under his body, went to the top of the net. But no, Lennon's drive and run and finish, like that's the all-star in him. Mulroy could be our next all-star.
It is. It's incredible how successful it's been, and maybe there's a bit of. It's a bit fortuitous that you had so many interesting storylines. I don't know if it's cause and effect with the changes in the rules and these kind of surprises, but when you think about it now, like we're only starting now where it's supposed to get good, and you've already had a heap of very, very good games. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying to think, you're thinking back, like even Ulster final was class. Armagh Tyrone that before that was very good. Connacht final last weekend was great.
Cork and Kerry was good.
Cork and Kerry was great.
Out of nowhere.
Meath and Dublin was great for a different sort of reason.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know. Like it's amazing that it's like you're looking forward to it. Like 'cause it definitely was a bit of.
It turns out Louth and Kildare was really good.
Yeah.
No one cared about it because no one outside of Louth and Kildare cared about it because they didn't think that it was going to be of any relevance beyond being cannon fodder for the Dubs in the Leinster final. And look, it does change things. What the hell is going on with the Dubs? Really, that would be interesting to see if there's any rescuing them for the rest of the year. But I suppose we can come back to that in the power rankings when we get there.
Yeah.
Let's do Donegal. Michael Murphy. Michael Murphy.
Crying on his father's shoulder.
But even just, he was like a dervish. It was unbelievable. And like Armagh, Matthew beforehand is like, they've lost 3 Ulster finals combined score of a point. Like, in a row. Was it 2 points?
I thought
after extra time.
I thought they might get over the line this time because of the All Ireland since the last one, that they have the confidence to do it. And it was so close, like it was very, very similar to yesterday as well.
And like really, I'm so loath to even begin a conversation about refereeing. Who would do it? Why would you become somebody who puts themselves at the centre of it? It did look like Forker is clearly, I don't know, at the very end. Is he barging? Because that never gets given, really, except at the start of the game, and then it gets given at the end of the game. It could easily have been a free in. Armagh win by a point, and everybody goes, yeah, that's fair. But I think he probably would have evened it up or given them an opportunity to even it up. So, yeah. But an astonishingly high level of coaching in those two teams in particular. It did look like, I would say, there's a significant difference in standard between Ulster football and not to bring the under-20s into it, but like the Tyrone wave is coming where you can see that they have professional coaching from school level coming through their academy system up to the senior team.
Maybe, but like, where were we talking about that in the week? Like, I don't know, was it off the back of Tommy's interview with Kieran McGeeney? I think like Tyrone underage have always been extremely good, haven't they? Like it's kind of, but it's a different. Look, it'd be interesting, it'd be great if they can kind of patch that up and get back to where they should be. But it's just, oh God, it's the quality of it. Like it's the quality of I think even what the 2-pointer does in terms of, now look, it's not. Geez, you see what Kildare did to Leitrim at the weekend, like, and you're like, there's a lot of stuff going on off Broadway. There's a lot of hammerings being handed out. An awful lot of hammerings. Like Kildare ended up with 36 points. I don't have to hand what the 2-pointers were, but kind of going through Scorpio, there's a lot of orange, things like, so like, there are a lot of hammerings, but I do think what it really does help is what you're watching these games, just seeing that sort of skilled kick from distance nailed. It's such a pleasing thing to watch. Like it's just class. But yeah, it's not all rosy. But sure, look, you can't win them all.
interesting. The three most high-profile games of the weekend. So the 2 provincial football finals and Clare, Tipperary, and Hurling. The side scoring the goals won the game, which it does feel right to me. I mean, there's plenty of ways to win a game against football. Armagh 28 points now. Armagh nearly score 2 great goals. One of them hits the inside the post and goes across the line, and before that, there's a brilliant shimmy and shot which just goes wide. It's not like they weren't trying to score goals, but it was interesting. We're talking about Donegal, and the build-up was the lack of goals they scored.
Would love to have seen behind the goals angle on the one that flashed wide just after, because that's immediately after one of the Donegal goals, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the response, and that's what it was, nip and tuck the whole way. But it's just, I didn't see Donegal scoring 2 goals in this game. But Hugh McFadden's finish, soccer finish, more of that, I should say. Pure improvisation, great to see. Yeah, the purists wouldn't be a fan of it, but hell of a finish.
A great soccer county, Donegal.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think totally gut-wrenching for Armagh. We saw like the ugly scenes afterwards. Because Armagh probably by most metrics in the game, statistically, are possibly superior, with the exception of the most important stat.
Maurice Brosnan's footage seems to be the only extant version of events about what happened after the full-time final whistle. And we know that no bans can be handed out as a result of fan footage, even if it's actually, a renowned journalist.
It's unbelievable.
Right? So nothing's going to happen with that. And I don't know if you were watching the Saturday game, but they're like, sure, look, emotions are high, and we've no footage, so we can't bring you any analysis on this. They could have played Morris's stuff, and they could have said somebody from the Donegal team celebrates in front of the Armagh bench in the split second after the game, and in the face of that severe provocation, Armagh respond in kind.
Severe provocation.
It is pretty severe provocation.
Just leave it. Just park that. Let it go. You don't want to see it, but I wouldn't be going looking for bans from it.
No, I'm not saying no bans either.
That's fine. So we're all on the same page.
You can't get bans.
Yeah, but just leave it. Don't even mention bans. Just let it go.
No. You shouldn't be able to poke the head off somebody.
It's all in the spirit. And they're going out there for like...
Let about it.
They're out there for 80, 90 minutes. Like.
However, if you do celebrate in front of the bench in the immediate aftermath, you're going to get the head poked off you. Like...
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe that is punishment alone.
Well, it depends on, so long as no one is hurt.
Yeah, if someone gets hurt or whatever, then we'll revisit. But like, if all's fair in love and war. You're going to go do that.
You can get sent off if you don't break a fella's leg. It's intention. The brawl was intended to hurt.
Yeah, but it's not. No, it's not. If they wanted to hurt him, they could have hurt him.
It's
fine.
So you're getting throttled by one of those lads.
The cold words in the statement of the player when he's up against if I wanted to hurt him, I could have hurt him.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's good.
I like the image of Fokker and McGuinness afterwards. That was great. And the sky momentarily went dark behind us, all the flares. It's beautiful scenery.
Oh, great photographs. Absolutely sensational.
Yeah. From that game, there's loads of Murphy as well. Whatever way they caught it, just I suppose because it was about 6 o'clock, 6:30 that stage, wasn't it? Like it was well on.
So they're all in green.
So that's
provincial
green.
finals all in green.
Provincial green, provincial green, we'll call it. So that means that Donegal are in Group 1 of the All-Ireland Series, and they get Mayo, Tyrone and Cavan. And
hang on, slow down, because this is very technical of a Monday morning for our brains. Donegal have
the Connacht runner-up, Mayo, and they also have Tyrone and Cavan, which they knew, which the winners of Ulster knew.
It is bullshit. That is a group. And the other 2 groups that we already talked about for Meath and Louth are also groups in the same competition.
And the consolation prize for Armagh, with another gut-wrenching Ulster final defeat, is the group of death, Group 4, with the Connacht winner Galway and Dublin and Derry.
It's possible Dublin and Derry are no good.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know.
It is possible. It's now in the field of outcomes in a way that it wasn't before.
I don't think you can say Dublin will be no good.
Well, let's wait and see.
Dublin will definitely be able to put it up to anyone.
They need a lot of players back from injury.
Yeah.
And we don't know, and we won't know until the field, until they've finished exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Will we hear from Sam Mulroy and Ger Brennan on the winning Louth side here after Matt yesterday?
The Mulroy 2-point free, you seem to keep the ball from that moment up until the end of the game, and there's about 5 minutes left. That great Dublin team became experts at doing that and killing games late on. What were you like watching those last couple of minutes? Because Louth seemed to play it very well.
Yeah, I was hoping Conor Grimes would have ran the other direction, down to the canal end as opposed to the hill end, and But it was something we had practiced and something we spoke about, and I suppose we all would have watched the Ulster final last night, and Donegal managed to do that quite well too at the end. Come on, Sam. And race, yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on for Sam. But to be able to close it out was superb, you know.
Sam, can I just ask you about celebrations?
I'm absolutely soaking here, Tommy. The dressing room's it's a bit mad in there. Yeah, it's hard to put into words, probably, right now. But it's a very special feeling. I suppose, like I said on it, when we were collecting the cup, it's probably that group of players believed when no one else believed. And I suppose to stand up there for them and collect that trophy was something I'll remember for the rest of my life. Ger was giving out to me in the first half. I was probably trying to look for them too soon. But I thought then, I knew coming in that second half that the space would open up a little bit more, and I'd probably snatch that one or two early on. But the boys then started pop passes into the inside and started opening up a little bit more. But yeah, there's always going to come a stage where someone's going to have to take some shots there. The opportunity's going to present itself, so when you do, you have to just keep backing yourself, I suppose, and taking a shot.
Are you ready for the celebrations?
No, the boys just slagging me there. I don't really like celebrating. So they're like, you're going to have to be away now for the week, so I don't know how I feel about that yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's great. It's unbelievable. I will enjoy it now.
If you don't like celebrating, can you enjoy it?
There's always that nagging thing in the back of your head going, need to get back to work here. Like their opportunity now, say fucking a norm, right? To coin a phrase. Like Louth will fancy themselves against almost anybody. And so now is this like great wondrous thing. They should embrace that. And
okay, can I ask you about that? So that like Meath were Leinster champions with 5 minutes to go. So would you said the same thing if they had remained in the lead?
I think
is this purely on the result you're saying this about?
No, I think the fact that Louth have been building for the last 3 seasons, and I think they're clearly a team who are ready for this. Like, it's not a shock to that group of players that they were able to hold off Meath. I think Meath have made massive progress this season, and so we actually don't know what the ceiling with Meath is, and it could go either way, right? Like there is a world in which Meath now are shocked because of what happened yesterday, but there's also a world in which they go away and lick their wounds, and their group isn't really that difficult. Like,
but the argument would be like Meath's the already famous victory against Dublin, followed up by winning Leinster for the first time in 15 years. That could have propelled them, and it still can, is my argument. That was such a close match, like nip and tuck all the way. They exchanged the leads.
How everybody deals
right at the end.
How everybody deals with this is going to be very interesting. So,
all right, we'll talk to Hurling. Clare Tipperary here from Saturday evening. Clare 221, Tipperary 418. It was goal by Tipperary, shared between John McGrath and Andrew Orman. A brace each. There were 12 points clear at one stage in this game. Tip, what is it about Clare being 12 points down this year and coming back? They nearly did this. They did against Cork. They nearly did this time. But Tip scored, I think, 4 of the last 5 points in the game, which I did not see coming. I thought it was only going to go one way, and that Liam Cahill would have a lot of explaining to do afterwards. But it leaves Clare fairly banjaxed to get out of Munster now. The question is, will they?
Yeah, we've been trying to figure this out for the last
days. There are permutations. I have it here.
All right, good man. Finally, great.
So this is the good work of Owen Cormacan in the Irish Examiner this morning. 3 routes to Clare.
Right.
Bear with me here. Limerick lose both of their remaining fixtures to Cork and Clare, for which they're home for both. Tipperary beat Waterford this Sunday, and Waterford lose again the following Sunday to Cork. That gets Clare to 3 points, level with Limerick.
So sorry, that's all. So obviously Clare have to beat Limerick to have any chance. Yeah.
And that's only one of the 3 perm. The other one, Cork and Waterford overcome Limerick and Tip respectively next weekend. Clare defeat Limerick the weekend after, creating a 3-way tie on 3 points between Clare, Limerick and Tip. Score difference would then decide which of them takes third. And then the final one is Limerick win at home to Cork this Sunday. Waterford win away to Tipperary the same afternoon. Waterford win again on the road the following Sunday, this time in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, with Clare also winning away to Limerick.
Forget that one.
So it looks like the most likely is, it's an order of, it's a descending order of likelihood.
Like, it's interesting though, because there's every chance Limerick lose to Cork this weekend. And then it's just a bit of a shootout for both of them. For Limerick, Clare. Just comes down to it again. Anyway, they'll be disappointed. They're a better team than Tipperary.
Our Tip?
No, they're not.
Our Tip?
No.
Are you?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Because every time. I mean, I know you kind of
100%.
scratch the loathing that you have for
that.
many teams, and the one
Clare
that would
missing.
the one that,
Look, if any team was missing the kind of players Clare were missing,
sure.
For some reason we don't make that excuse for Clare. For some reason we're just like we're ignoring it. We're just like it doesn't matter.
But it was the main thrust of the pre-game and post-game analysis was that the spine of the team had been ripped out.
Gone.
The hurler of the year, and that's where all the goals came from.
Can I put this to you? 6 days ago, when myself and Art were talking to you about Leinster's defeat, you said it's not all about the results, it's about the process. You were defending Leo Cullen, right? Now, I still suspect that if Meath had won that game yesterday, you'd be saying Meath are in a great chance here. If Peter Duggan catches the ball right at the end from Ryan Taylor's pass, that's almost a certain goal for Clare. Clare win the game. And maybe we're having a different discussion today based on the result of the game. Because Clare very nearly got back into it. They have a problem at the moment by going loads down, but they do have the capacity to get back into it. Shane O'Donnell came on. Tony Kelly didn't have a great game by his standards, even though a beautiful penalty. They're not at their strongest.
So what's your point?
That Clare are better than Tip, for sure.
But I'm asking about whether or not Tip are actually contenders, and it's like not a hope. They're terrible.
I didn't of Clare being better than
no, because they've actually
Tip.
been because
Limerick's still there with Cork there.
Hang on. That isn't the only piece of evidence we have about Tipperary. We have the evidence that they played reasonably well against a very good side in the opening round, right?
A very good side, but a side Limerick weren't playing particularly well. But the fact, look, I'm not. Like, obviously, there's the margins here are so fine. I don't think it's like inconceivable that Tipperary in 2 years' time are in a place where they can. I just think at the minute,
Tip are coming out now. It looks like
maybe. Like, but this happens all the time. Like every team, every few years, it looks like a team's coming up, and then it's like they'll fade back away.
Sorry, I mean, I think it looks like they're coming out of Munster.
Oh, yeah. So what are they on now? They're on 3 points. So if they beat Waterford next weekend, they're through. They probably should beat Waterford, to be fair. I think they're probably better than Waterford. But I wouldn't say it's a given either. But if they lose that, I mean, then it's kind of, I suppose, in the hands of the gods. I don't know what the situation will be then. They're probably gone, to be fair.
And I think, so
it's quite marginal, to be fair.
While it's year 3 of the manager, it is still a newish team where they are still forming an identity, where they still have a bunch of young players playing in it who are still occasionally prone to, as we've seen, rushes of blood to the head. But at the same time, there is a blend of youth and experience there. So this is more than likely going to be a last spin for the McGraths, for example. But the high level that they're playing at the moment.
Is it a high level, though?
Well, they just played, granted, a depleted All-Ireland champions. They played Limerick. The Cork game, very difficult to know exactly
for sure.
what to read into that.
We'll never know.
But they squandered a 12-point lead against Clare.
Yeah, but Clare, so did Cork.
Yeah.
And no one's saying Cork are...
We are. I mean, Cork, we're not saying anything about Cork.
Well, no one's saying Cork are gone and Cork aren't contenders on the basis of that.
Cork are just coming off the back from an All-Ireland final. Cork have credit in the bank.
Yeah.
That's why we're not saying it. I mean, it's not.
Well, what we're trying to establish is whether or not Tipperary could potentially be contenders
for the All-Ireland, is it? Are you saying?
Yeah. So
I don't. Do you think in an All-Ireland semi-final, if you were to do it now and you were to put Tipperary against Limerick, Cork, Kilkenny...
Can I ask, are they going to have 15 men for the whole game?
Well, that's up to them.
Well, sure. But let's assume that they are. And then I would say, will they be within 3 to 5 points from their opponents with 10 minutes left to go? I'd say, and I think they would take that. I think that there's an opportunity here for them to come, and I think that they have a lot of exciting players and the style of play is beginning to emerge, and there's a crop of youngsters there who are very impressive. So I'm not writing them off, is what I'm saying.
I still think, and I'm not trying to slag them off. I think the way they're playing in terms of, how do you frame it? Like, irrespective of the McCarthy raid, I need to check. At one point, was it 3 or 4 of the 6 backs had yellow cards? I think that they're playing on an edge that's going to get them in trouble again when it matters in a game.
Okay.
They're going to find themselves in a position again where it's...
Because traditionally playing on the edge is exactly what
but they're not.
Like, do.
They're not. Look, the fact of the matter is, at the weekend, and I don't know, I wouldn't name it, I don't know exactly who the Tipperary player was, but Tony Kelly was hit when on his knees cleared out in a thing that in rugby would
have
get
been
you
a
in the
red
bin.
card.
Yeah. And for some reason, the referee, because it was seen, for some reason, and it was, I think it was Dave and Tommy on commentary, for some reason, it was completely ignored. And a different referee in a different thing that sees that's a red card. And I just think that they're playing. I don't know why that was ignored, and I thought that if that happens there, Clare probably win that game. So I don't know. We'll see. If they go out like the measure for, if they go out next week when it really matters, beat Waterford, get through, then you go, okay, you got to take them seriously. But as it stands, they've been hammered once. Should have hammered Clare the way the position they were in, got over the line, and the Limerick one, we'll see. I mean, they probably could have won that game as well, but a draw was probably fair. Who knows?
I'll put them in red.
Who?
Clare. Yeah.
By their own standards.
For the start of the game. They did well to come back. They flirted with amber, but I'll put them in red. We'll move from that straight to the Kamogi Munster Council. This is the most undoubted red ever. You can put that straight into red about what happened there on Friday night. Pretty unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean, you could use any adjective you want to describe it. Cowardly was certainly a word that I saw repeatedly used. And it's hard to argue with it because as late as 7 o'clock on Friday night, Clubber, who were going to show the game, the Munster final between Waterford and Cork, were led to believe that the game was going ahead, and at 8 o'clock the statement was released that it wasn't. And that was when the players first found out as well, and it was pretty unbelievable that would happen. We were talking last week about, well, look, if the players wear shorts here, the special congress in 2 weeks is not quite redundant, but the horse is already bolted there because the players have decided, they've acted upon it. And I guess there was a bit of a spooked feeling by the authorities, and they had to get back control. And the Munster Council stepped in for the Kamogi Association. The game is postponed. It won't be played until after that special congress on the 22nd of May. And my fear immediately on Friday night was, well, why would they pass the congress now? That was my initial fear straight away, was that if there is no senior Kamogi illustration of shorts being worn instead of skirts for anyone to see, then the Congress can once again reject it, and the players will have to just be dissatisfied with that decision and continue. And this whole protest will have been for nothing.
I don't think that's a possibility. I don't think that's
I don't think so. Just keep protesting.
I don't think that's in the range of outcomes at all. I think.
I think it is a possibility they could reject this again.
I don't think it is.
Just keep protesting.
It isn't, because
they keep protesting, but then they'll keep postponing games, so then you have to play the games, and then something has to give.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to pass at Congress, because there'll be so much pressure brought to bear on everybody by the players at clubs, like shit and all as GAA democracy. And before everybody that comes, it's not the GAA. It's exactly the same structures as the GAA. They're all members of GAA clubs. They are all GAA people. So this is I see a lot of people being super defensive when the wrong Twitter handle gets copied in. The democracy within all of the associations works in exactly the same way. So the players and people, members of clubs, will be on to their delegates this week. Packs have been sent out, apparently. So you can see that the Kamogi Association president, at least, seems to want the vote to go in favour of change.
The president, and also wanted that the first time, and it didn't happen. I admire that you're very confident that that's not going to happen. That you're for sure it's going to pass.
I think
my instinct reaction Friday night was worry for that.
The actions of the Munster Council are the most egregious that I've seen in any sport, covering sport in Ireland professionally for 25 years. That is as bad a decision. The way it was communicated, the trying to bury it on a Friday night, the inability to put a spokesperson up to defend it, the use of a PR company to handle it, as opposed to just coming out and saying, no, this is why we're doing it. The disrespect that it showed for everybody involved, and the pretense that it was in their best interests, which is just blatant. It's just blatantly not true. I can only imagine what it must have been like to be one of those players who had decided to focus on something that wasn't about the game in the week of the game, and had reached a conclusion with their main rivals. Like, that Waterford team, they're not used to success. They're absolutely desperate to win that game. And in the week of the game, they're doing media because of the Camogi Association and their inability to even there's loads of wiggle room within every rule book for something to happen. Anyway, everybody knows it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
in the red.
And they put up an Instagram post about it too, and deleted it because of the abuse they were getting. And that's another hard to believe the naivety around it, that they didn't think that reaction would occur. I don't know what they thought would happen on Friday night when they released that statement so late, 16 hours before throw-in, and that was when the players first went out as well. So unbelievable. The most guaranteed red in performance rankings history there. We'll move on to the football for the weekend. We'll start actually with the player. Trent Alexander-Arnold takes to the field yesterday afternoon at Anfield. Liverpool against Arsenal. The game finishes 2-2. Liverpool are 2-1 up at the time. Trent comes on for Conor Bradley to very loud boos by the Anfield crowd. Very shortly followed by the Anfield crowd singing "There's only one Conor Bradley." Our own colleague Rob Timoney was at the game, posted on Instagram. Straight away to Rob, I can't believe you booed him, Rob. And Rob was like, whoa, I didn't boo him at all. In fact, my section of the crowd were cheering him. He said he couldn't believe it himself. Now, I expected the odd boo, kind of background music to the main song. I expected a little bit, but it was loud to the point where it was unavoidable, that the commentary team has to talk about it, that you could see written all over Trent's face. Probably he was surprised and aghast about just how much he was being booed. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. I don't think the guy owes them anything. He's been at the club 20 years. He's won absolutely everything with them. Everything good about Liverpool the last decade, he's been central to. And he wants to try something new. If you cheer him, there's a good chance he's going to come back in 2 years' time and be like, I just had a little fling abroad. I wanted to see it. I'll come back.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Him is,
this is like...
What a thank you that is. But look, we're told if you say that, Liverpool fans, led by Jamie Carragher, you can't tell us how to feel. You can't speak on behalf of Liverpool fans. From Liverpool. Okay, fine, yeah. But
However,
I still have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is
I don't think it matters. Your opinion is they should be better fans. Mine is it literally doesn't matter. Jamie Carragher can go shite as well, telling, as Mick McCarthy so eloquently put it, telling all the Villa fans to, feel respected by the fact that Steven Gerrard was, coming down to Aston Villa's level to work with them for such a long period of time.
Well, those exact words.
Basically. Oh, look at you, Villa. Who do you think you are? You're not better than Steven Gerrard. You're nowhere near as good as Steven Gerrard. You should be glad to carry the water. Whatever. Mick was dead correct with that. Screw you, Jamie Carragher. I don't think this matters. I don't care that they booed him. They booed him.
What did they expect? I think it's shocking by them. I think it matters big time. I couldn't believe it. I think it's unbelievable.
Angry at a player leaving. How are you surprised by that?
Exactly. Players leave all the time. Are you not allowed to leave Liverpool? You can't leave.
But sure, what does it matter? What's the difference?
I can't believe they did that to him. After everything he's done for that club, like he's an unbelievable player. He's central to so much good of what they've done. And that's how they treat him when he leaves.
A small portion of the crowd.
It was loud. Jeez, they must have said a lungs on that small portion.
Who's are loud? 16 people booing would make it seem loud.
I can't believe they did that. I just can't believe it.
And you're not just for the reason of where he's going though as well and how he's leaving. And how it was all handled.
It doesn't matter which way he left, lads. Whatever way he left,
there's definitely either what there was.
Take a transfer fee, he's still going to go anyway. He wants to go. Leave him go. He'll probably come back. It's just, I can't believe it, to be honest. I knew there'd be a few boos.
You're surprised?
I knew there'd be a few boos. I would be if I was him.
But you're not him. So you're a person who's watched football for all your life.
I have an opinion on it, just like you have an opinion that you don't care about it.
I know, but you can't be angry at the Liverpool fans for booing somebody who's leaving the club.
You can't tell me how to feel.
Hey, there you go. But how are you surprised by this?
I am shocked when you look at the logic of it.
But
why would they boo him heavily?
He left, right?
Fans. So he decided he was going to leave. And then he said, I'll wait till we win the league to release this statement and do the video. And he sits down and goes, these are the reasons I want to leave. Yeah. I love you as a club, whatever. Right? Yeah. So it wasn't like he just shagged off without saying a word and was coming onto the pitch with the two V's to the crowd every time. Like had he scored that free kick? What would they have done then? Yeah. They applauded his free. They applauded his free kick and were like, "Oh, actually, Trent, no, you are one of us."
Oh, come on, Trent, one last one for us. Still hate the fact that you're leaving.
There's nothing he could have done really to not be
because he's leaving. That's what the wages of sin are death, and they think he's sinned.
Insane. Wish him well. It just it just shows the mentality, the mentality.
It's an early bought for you, Mr. Cantona.
You have done everything for us.
You literally watch football fans.
We'll see you back.
Your entire life. And you expect them not to behave in an emotional way.
Give me another example of that. Give me another example of when that happened.
Off my head, I don't have it.
Yeah, okay.
Saul Campbell.
Sol Campbell.
Yeah.
Man, that was North London. He's not going to Everton. He's not going to Man United.
What you're forgetting
He's not going to the Premier League.
Real Madrid,
that's way different.
Real Madrid have beaten Liverpool in 2 Champions Leagues in the last few years.
Yeah.
As far as Liverpool are concerned, like on their hierarchy of rivals,
Yeah, it's very high.
Real Madrid are right up there.
Yeah.
It's the worst sort of thing. It's the worst place he could have gone short of the obvious.
Well, even the obvious. So Man United. Okay, fair enough.
Like it's just.
Okay, that's fair. That's your opinion.
I don't agree with it.
I disagree with
And
that.
the other thing, what they think they're doing is making sure that it doesn't happen again. It's like the next time, if any of the rest of you think that you're going to be going,
we'll bully all our players. We'll bully them into not leaving. Yeah,
That's
nice group of lads.
Yeah, well, welcome to the real world.
No, yeah. See, I'm surprised you think that yourself about us.
How are the Real Madrid fans and the Barcelona fans?
I'm going to put Trent in the green to make him feel a bit loved. Trent, you go in the green there. You're welcome to me. What a footballer! What a player!
I've ever seen.
What an unbelievable footballer! And that's how they treat him. Jeez, it wasn't like Bruno Cheroux was leaving, and they booed him because you've done nothing for the club, Bruno. This is like one of their best players.
That's why it matters.
In the greatest team of all time, he could be their right back.
Yeah, potentially.
He's a contender. Unbelievable. Anyway, so we'll move on to.
You put him in midfield. That was a great debate at the time. Do you remember?
I couldn't play midfield, could he? So.
That got swept away.
Europa League finalists I have here. Straight away you can throw these into the red. It is quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, we only have a few minutes left here.
Just how regular these defeats are.
Ollie Watkins is in the green, right? Because he was absolutely sensational.
Relax there now, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
so Spurs lose at home to Palace. United lose at home to West Ham. Isn't it remarkable that Spurs are 17th and they have a goal difference of +4? They're one of the top scorers in the league.
They've lost 20 games.
Unbelievable. They have 20 games of football, Ger. 20. United have lost 17. United have scored the joint fewest goals outside of the bottom 3, outside of the relegated 3, famously terrible relegated 3. The other team that have scored the goals with United, West Ham, and United donated 2 of them.
So we know no matter what happens, Ange's getting sacked, right?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm
not sure if he wins them their first trophy since 2008.
They probably should. Probably should get rid of him.
The consensus seems to be from the Spurs.
He seems to have fallen out of love with it. So maybe that would be the reason I would say.
Historically bad season
that he would go.
Generational.
I mean, multi-generational.
Yeah,
all time.
You know, I think
there's a lack of urgency in everything we do. It's a big concern. Not off the ball breakfast, the words of Ruben Amorim about Manchester United. That was after the game. I don't know if Champions League is a good thing or not for this club. That's how down he is about everything. As for Ange, he said, we just can't deal with these setbacks at the moment.
For the first time in print,
they're red.
For the first time in print, I've seen somebody speculating about the decision that the Manchester United hierarchy have to make this summer about whether or not they do exactly what they did last summer and back a manager who they're not convinced about with all the money that they're going to spend in the market. So he is going to play 3 at the back. He is very wedded to that. And obviously, Xabi Alonso seems to have made it work. Inzaghi seems to have made it work. There's lots of people who seem to be able to do stuff with this, but you don't see many players that Amorim can point to in the time that he's been in the club and go, you got better under me. I've given you the detail to make you a better footballer. I've given you the opportunity to thrive under my system. And so the brains trust has got to be looking going, do you think maybe there's somebody else out there for us? It's not you. It's us.
It is weird in the last 12 years that every manager that's been there, they all seem to end up hating the players. And it's been a different set of players over the number of years, but that's the one commonality.
We'll come back to Man United later in the
week. Van Gaal had a healthy disdain, to be fair to him. I don't think he hated them.
I think he loved some of them.
I think he liked some of them.
Yeah, the one
he was
he
was bemused. He was bemused by some of the rest of them.
He fucked Johnny Evans out of it. It was like, get away, Johnny. You're no good. It was like there was some certain players he didn't have much time for. Right, Champions League places before we finish up here. So, at the moment, 2nd to 6th.
What a race.
Arsenal. So, Arsenal are 68 points and Aston Villa are in 6th with 63 points. So, there's 5 points between those sides. So, Newcastle had a great weekend. They beat Chelsea 2-0 yesterday.
Can I just say, when it was 2-0 to Liverpool against Arsenal, there was a scenario where you were thinking, Arsenal, what are you doing? The swoon was an all-time great swoon, where they could have ended up finishing 4th/5th. Maybe worse, but now it's not going to happen.
We can definitely put this in the green, by the way, lads, Champions League chasers, because it is genuinely a brilliant element of the Premier League, and thank God for it. Nottingham Forest, of course, you already talked about at the start of the show, Ger, about the owners' reaction there to the final whistle, drawing 2-2 with Leicester. So they're in 7th on 62 points. They're a point behind Villa, who are in 6th. Villa have to go to United, I think, don't they? At Old Trafford last game of the season.
Yeah. United.
So that's a handy one for them.
Celebrating their qualification for the Champions League.
And Chelsea, who are a place ahead of Villa, they have United next. So another handy one for Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then you have Man City in fourth, who hilariously drew 0 all the way to Southampton.
Chelsea play Forest on the final day of the season.
One of the worst teams in Premier League history, and Man City couldn't score against them, despite having a ridiculous number of touches inside the Southampton penalty area. But anyway, Champions League qualification's fantastic with 2 games.
I've just noticed in the Man United game, the Europa League finals, the Wednesday.
Yes, before then. Yeah, yeah.
It'll be party time. Both teams going through.
Party time or a state of genuine depression.
For both teams.
for
My God, the mood will be low at Man United there if they haven't won on the Wednesday.
Do you remember when Robert De Niro started doing comedy, Midnight Run in the late 80s?
Oh, Midnight Run's a classic.
It was like, he's really funny. Peter O'Mahony, didn't know he had that flexibility to him. So the sidestep for the pass to Tom Farrell and then the leap of Big Willie. And then smashes it down.
Yeah.
Risky smash.
No.
What if he lost control?
A rip in the time fabric continuum, and actually it turns out Peter O'Mahony has set a new dimension into existence, and he's gone back and righted the wrongs of the waste that Munster have made of his career. How many trophies should they have won with O'Mahony and Murray? How many did they win?
Do Munster owe the trophies to O'Mahony?
One URC.
But a brilliant try and a brilliant bit of play there. And Munster are in the green because they're in their own hands now for the playoffs in the URC. Then we're out of time. So Irish Athletics, 2 out of the 3 relay teams qualified for the World Championships, which are happening in Tokyo in mid-September. So that was the women's team. And the mixed relay team, the men's team, didn't qualify. They finished 7th in their heat. And then Shane Lowry, as Ger touched on at the start of the show, blew it. Bogies on the 16th and 18th as he comes 2nd in Philadelphia.
But it is the week of the Quail Hollow PGA. So we're going to talk a lot of golf.
Irish Athletics green, Shane Lowry red.
Get on board the bandwagons. 8:23, that's the performance rankings.
Performance rankings.